Staying with us. Unfortunately, we don't have papers this morning, so we're just going to do the best we can with the little information we have. So we're going to start with the nation. I'm not sure what happened with our vendors today. Let's see. Senate President of the nation, Senate President, Speaker. APC's consensus moves unsettled parties. Oshimbajo. Buhari's armed forces investment turned tide against terrorists. 2023 poll, religious politics won't help Nigeria. Nasarawa governor warns. Northern governors backed power shift for unity. Fairness, says Lalong. Sudan, third batch of 131 Nigerian evacuees return. Okay, which story are we starting with in the nation?
I think let me start with the Sudan. So they said the third batch of 131 stranded Nigerians has arrived in Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The Taco airline plane B737-300 touched down 1:45 p.m. Said about 506 students have been evacuated since Nigeria started airlifting on Wednesday. The first batch of 376 was airlifted on Wednesday by Air Peace and Nigerian Air Force plane. The second batch of 130, which had 99% female students, was airlifted by the Sudanese aircraft Taco on Friday. The first batch was airlifted from Egypt, while the second batch came in from Port Sudan. The third batch is also coming from Port Sudan. So speaking shortly after welcoming the evacuees, the NIDCOM chairman, the Chief Executive Officer, Bike Dabirewa, expressed joy that the process had commenced, and she said that no Nigerian will be left behind. She also said it's not over until it's over. Another batch is coming tomorrow. Thank God the tension is less now. One thing is certain, no one will be left behind. And she said a lot of people put tribal coloration to everything that's happening, but thankfully we are coming out of it, and the evacuees need to pay more attention and obey rules, especially in a place like Egypt. They are very strict with their rules, so any rule that is given must be obeyed, and hopefully all Nigerians will come home safely.
Okay,
I have King Charles III has been crowned, and according to the nation, he says the whole world watched in awe, a 1,000-year tradition, that was celebrated. Colors, about 100 leaders were there, and world leaders were there, millions of television audience. Was quite interesting. It's something to admire, to have a tradition that's carried on for thousands of years, But for me, unfortunately, the exciting thing for me was the after party, the concert. And our very own Tiwa Savage was at the concert. We enjoyed that very much. She looked beautiful and represented us well. Yes.
I also think that it's a conversation to have concerning traditions.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to our own traditions, we have a way of just, disregarding it somewhat. So
but
yeah, go ahead.
So also the president-elect, Bola Tinubu, sent a congratulatory letter to King Charles III, expressed the desire for further engagement between Nigeria and Britain in the years ahead. He said it is heartwarming that your ascension to quite long, but let me just read the first paragraph. To the throne is coming after the 70-year reign of your iconic mother, Queen Elizabeth II, whose death last September left the entire world in grief with her eventful reign. Anyway, he's just saying, we're looking forward to continue with the relationship we already have with them.
I feel like I was the only one that didn't watch the coronation.
A lot of people didn't. I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it today. It was just everywhere.
I just saw the excerpts online. But the our vice president, Vice President Oshimbajo, was at the 59th Nigeria Air Force anniversary in Enugu State. And he was there. He commended the team for their leadership that they've shown. They've actually been showing providing the Air Force. According to him, he said that the government's huge investment in the capacity development of the Nigerian Air Force and other security agencies has helped to turn the tide against terrorists and other violent non-state actors in our nation. He went further to say that he's proud that the Air Force has, in the years of its establishment, proved its mettle, both locally and internationally. And he's saying that he's quite impressed by the displays put up by the officers, airmen, and airwomen of the Nigerian Air Force at the ceremonial event. So he was quite impressed, and he was also saying that the president's investment in this regard has actually really helped terrorism in our country. Is there any story in the nation? Okay, let's move on now. As I said, we don't have papers, so just going to have to make do with how we can. We know now to the Punch. Let's see if I can find Punch.
Should we just
The
go?
Punch, let's see, CBB tells Tinubu others to submit forms before May 29th. FG lifts 888 Nigerians from Egypt, plans more evacuation. Osime, from Lagos street hawker to Serie A.
Yes, so that's the hottest Nigerian footballer.
Passengers stranded, flights grounded as federal government shuts Abuja, Norway. Fuel-laden tanker crashes grounds Lagos-Ibadan expressway traffic. My ordeal with aggressive breast cancer, says Dezani. Protest as Northwest backs Akpabio for Senate presidency. And subsidy removal, Nigerians may spend 8 trillion naira on petrol in 6 months. Okay, which story are we starting with?
The passengers said a lot of passengers were stranded in the airport across the country as aviation authorities shut the runway of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on Sunday after a MAX aircraft experienced 2 tire bursts shortly after landing on the runway. So the aircraft was coming in from Yola when the incident happened. However, there was no, it wasn't really like an accident. It was just landing in the wrong way and 2 tires burst. So they had to find a way to evacuate the passengers. Nobody was injured, and then they cordoned off the wrong way and, you know, cancelled all the flights. So Max Air has written apology to most of the passengers and the fact that they had to cancel all the flights in the runway. The federal government actually, you know, closed down the runway for that period so that they can, you know, find a way to take out the, or repair the tires or take out the aeroplane that, you know, landed with the tire bust. So the apology is for all all the passengers who were supposed to be going to Owerri, Abuja, Owerri, Abuja, Benin, Calabar, Abuja, Calabar, Benin, Abuja, Owerri, and Warri, Lagos. And so all the flights are cancelled. They are just saying they should be more patient. They will sort it out, and then schedule will resume as usual.
All right, let's still reviewing Punch, and I have the story on Dezani. So, the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dezani Alizimaduke, has prayed the Federal High Court in Abuja to set aside the bench warrant issued against her back July 2022. According to her, she accused the EFCC of concealing facts to obtain the bench warrant, contending that she was not on the run, but actually traveled to the United Kingdom to get treatment after being diagnosed with the most aggressive form of breast cancer. Says it's called the triple negative cancer. She had actually filed a motion through her lawyer, Michael Zekome, in SCN, or the Justice Olajuwon, to extend within which she could leave, to extend the time to which she could seek leave to apply for the order of discharging the bench warrant. So this is really what she had issued through her lawyer, saying that she actually she wasn't on the run as EFCC had implied. She was actually seeking medical attention for the aggressive breast cancer, which she was diagnosed with back in 2021.
I have the story of the Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen. He says his goals has fired Napoli to their 3rd Serie A triumph after 33 years. Anyway, he's such a hero in Italy. They said the children, they sing
chanting his name.
They sing his praises in the streets of on the streets of Napoli. They said that during the Naples Carnival in February, the children would blacken their skin and wear a mask that he would normally wear, that he's been wearing since 2021 after a facial injury. He is worshipped and he's loved.
Wow.
And so, of course, this report follows his story of how he started. He grew up really poor. here in Lagos. He said there were many children. His mom died. They were homeless. They live in the Olusosun.
Oh my God.
Whatever, the dump site. That's where they live. They didn't have a roof over their head. He would sell pure water, run the streets, you know, as they do, following traffic. And one time, Amunike, the coach for a younger team, had cited him. He was taken to Abuja and he played for a few hours, and that was where he was picked. And from then on, here he is today.
Wow, what a story!
What a story!
Very beautiful story. Okay. I want to take the story about Akpabio. So the Senate's the Northwest have already supported the Senate presidency for Senate presidency for the 10th Assembly to move to South. That's Senator Akpabio becoming the Senate president, and they said that the Northwest will be getting the portfolio as Deputy Senate President. They picked Senator Godswill Akpabio for Senate President and Senator Barau Jibrin from the Northwest as the Deputy Senate President. They also mentioned that they were going to be picking two other people, Tajuddin Abbas from Kaduna and Benjamin Kalu from Abia will become the next leaders of the House. That's according to the stakeholders meeting. However, another group of stakeholders from the North Central are saying they had a press conference in Abuja on Sunday, and they said unanimously they faulted the reports of the decision by the APC leadership on Senate presidency that the position of the Speaker and of the House of Representatives should come to North Central because they are not being considered in all of this politics. But we'll see how it plays out. We should look out for the 5th of June is when the House of Assembly would be sworn in, and after then we'll see how this entire drama counting down plays out.
Okay, let's move on now to Daily Sun. Southeast senators demand Senate President-elect. My last moment with Umaru Musa Yaradua says Turai. Headsmen kill husband, wife, 5 others in 3 Benue communities. PDP alleges plot to influence presidential election tribunal. Aircraft tire burst into flames on landing at the Abuja airport. Fuel subsidy. Sisla queries $800 million World Bank loan for Nigerians. And Sudan crisis 1,471 Nigerians arrive at Abuja. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I'll do the headsmen. So gunmen suspected to be headsmen militia have killed 7 people, including a man and his wife, in separate attacks on 3 communities in Goma local government area of Benue State. According to the Daily Sun, it said that while 4 people were killed in Hinyam village, 1 was killed in Governor Samuel Otom's hometown, Otom village, and 2 others were killed in Semaka village, all of them from Goma local government. According to the locals, they said this incident happened last Friday. So a source from the area, Mr. Jonah Jorundu, told Daily Sun that the man who was killed was a Catholic of St. Peter Catholic Church, Hinyam. And the usual pattern is that the headsmen will shoot people and also use cutlass to cut them. So they shot the Katkis, his wife and 1 woman, and after shooting them, they still used cutlass on them. Their bodies were recovered from the bush and has been buried by their relatives. So when they contacted the police public relations officer, the Benue State Command, Catherine Anene, she said she was yet to get information on the incident. But the chairman of the local government, Goma, Mr. Mike Oba, confirmed the killings, said it was a very sad incident, and they'll still keep going back to the police to see how the issues can be resolved.
All right, so May 5th marked the 13th anniversary of the death of the late President Umaru Musa Yaradua, and Daily Sun had gone to interview his wife, his widow, Hajia Turai Yaradua, just how life has been, and it was an interesting interview to read, actually. It was about the last moments. According to her, she's been actually fasting while he was sick up until he died, and on that fateful day, she had actually wanted to just excuse herself to go break her fast. It was while she did that he had passed on, and she quite regretted because he didn't really want her to leave, because she kept asking him, can I go and break my fast? He kept saying no, but she had to just excuse herself to break the fast. She was then going on about how people have actually supported the family since his passing, but I was particularly interested in all the drama that happened. Remember that, those of you that were in the news, serious drama, how she shielded everybody from her husband. But that wasn't asked. It wasn't asked. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy that she was like, she cooked for him, she cared for him, and she only did exactly what he wanted her to do. So
I read the story as well, and I liked she said she has the advice for the incoming First Lady.
Oh, yeah.
She said that she has to be patient. She says if the president-elect is like the way her husband was, who didn't take any alcohol, didn't chase any women, was not corrupt, she became the target. And so that if a president-elect is like her husband, she will be the target, but she needs to, you know, be patient.
Thankfully, the president-elect's wife has been in the corridors of power for a long time. And
She's a politician herself.
Yeah. So I want to take the story of, sadly, accidents taking place at Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Reason we're taking this story is because we've been saying it over and over again, overspeeding. The public education officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Ogun State, Mrs. Florence Ukpe, had told the newsman in Abeokuta yesterday that there was an accident that occurred 6:25 p.m. on Saturday, and it involved a Sino-truck and a Toyota car. So the Toyota car driver was overspeeding and rammed into the moving truck from the rear. This led to the loss of 3 lives. You know, there were the 2 people survived, were injured, taken to the hospital, but 3 people died that could be avoided if they were not overspeeding. So the education officer for FRSC is saying that we're in the raining season, please don't overspeed when you have poor visibility. And I think that's very important information for everybody to take on.
Okay, we have to run. Final paper, Vanguard. Let's find the story of not taking. FG confirms May 22nd for the inauguration of the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote refinery. Will exploit confusion in NNPC to produce speaker. Sudan 4th batch arrives in Abuja. Let's see, what other story? Agri sector growth defies 1.8 million trillion loan infusion. Let me just quickly take the story of the Dangote refinery. So all the naysayers saying it can never happen, it can never happen. The federal government is saying categorically, the special assistant to the president himself was saying in a tweet, actually, it says that efforts by the federal government to make Nigeria self-sufficient in local refinery of crude to save the scarce foreign exchange used in the importation of the petroleum will receive a boost as the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote refinery is set to be inaugurated May 22nd. Nigerians are worried. Are you trying to just rush it? Because this May 29, everybody wants to do something. Lagos-Ibadan, May 29. May 29. Everybody's trying.
This is
everybody, they're trying to rush it, but we don't know. We are hoping that indeed by 22nd, that it is actually pumping 650,000 barrels per day.
As promised.
We are hoping, as promised. We really hope. But
I also hope they will not say they're paying in dollars, because I think that is on a free trade zone.
Those are granular details we don't want to get into. But the point is that they'll be inaugurated by that day.
All right.
Story in Tribune, I don't know if you can take it. NDLEA.
Yeah.
And how they were chasing drugs in 2 trucks. They had brought it in.
It's not Lagos, Charles.
Lagos. In fact, they had over 8,852 kilograms of Canadian loud. And they had intercepted them at the Eleko Beach Road in Lekki area.
Hi.
There was like 30 minutes gun duel. They had stopped them. NDLEA had gotten gist that they were bringing these things. So they now intercepted them around that area. And they tried to stop them. The driver saw and they fled. And
they catch them?
Yes, they caught them. And now they're on the trail of the major kingpin.
The sponsors.
That's good news.
Van Damme.
It's worrisome.
Lagos.
Yes.
All the Jaguar moves in this.
What do you mean in Lagos? Don't they take drugs in Lagos?
That is all.
I don't understand.
It's
That's
like
all we
Mexico.
can take
Hey.
on today's review. I just came back. Please don't stress me.